You took the safest option of following him.
I'll
from a
just stalk
distance.
him. So I just followed him down the road.
That is so weird.
Yeah, and then I really thought, this is too weird. Like, I've often thought I'm going to be fired at the end of the day. So I remember in rehearsals thinking, I think people are going to find this very boring. I think I'm in a real... This is going to be a stinker, yeah. Michael, would you mind signing my son's chest? Lucian, come here. Hello, I'm Michael Sheen, and I am on the Romesh Ranganathan show, and potentially, arses will be talked about.
It's the Romesh Ranganathan show.
Oh, shut up, Romesh.
Hello, mate. How are you? You're right. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate your time. Are you performing tonight?
Right, yeah.
I've never done a play, and that's not a big surprise.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, that's what I was...
It's a nightmare. You wake up in the morning and I go, fuck, I've got to do the play. Literally every day. And then it just hangs over you all day.
Do you buzz after a play?
No, it's just a massive wave of relief. Thank God that shit is over for another day. Because essentially the time between finishing the play and going to bed is the only period of time I'm not going, fuck, I've got to do the play tonight.
Yeah.
Exactly.
As soon as you wake up, you are then consumed by the fact you've got to do the thing, right?
Yeah.
So then the only time you're not is the night before.
This is the problem. Right. So then left to my own devices, I would stay awake until like 6 in the morning.
Yeah,
but I can't, because at 6:30 in the morning, my kids jump on my head. So, it's the...
So how old are your kids?
I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old and a 26-year-old.
Yeah.
It's not the 26-year-old who's jumping on my head in the morning.
No, but that would be wonderful. But what's it like being in that? You're in the trenches now.
Oh, yeah.
Aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So you had a 26-year-old, went through all of that, and now many years later, you're right back in it.
Right back in it.
What does that feel like?
It feels like simultaneously the best thing in the world and the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
I am tired all the time.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I can ever do anything I want to do.
No.
I have to force myself into thinking I'm really enjoying watching Frozen for the 50th, not 50th, who am I kidding? The 7,000th time.
Yeah.
Let's get straight to it. Your BBC bedtime story, I Want My Hat Back, is an all-time classic. That in our house.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so nice.
Before I left the house this morning to come here, my partner Anna was like, and don't forget to tell him how much we love I Want My Hat Back. She then sent me the recording on YouTube whilst I'm in the car, so I've watched it as I've been coming in.
That's so nice. That's really, you've actually made my day.
I love that.
I really helped by the book in that. Because the thing about bedtime stories is that sort of thing of like, it's not the reading of the story. The reading of the story is great. It's what you're doing for the few seconds before you start reading the story.
Yes.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. You've got to, the sort of textbook thing is to pretend you're in the middle of something else and then go, well, I'm not sure about that. Oh, hello.
Oh, hello. You caught me just talking to an inanimate object. Welcome. Also, it helps that the end of your story that you do is essentially about a psychopathic bear who's just eaten a rabbit and covering it up.
Yeah.
Which is, it strikes an odd note.
Yeah, it does. It does.
But you handle it well.
Where's home for you now then?
Home is Wales.
Yeah.
I moved back to Wales.
So you're in Port Talbot then?
Yeah, sort of on the edge of Port Talbot and Swansea. So my mum lives, about 25 minutes away where I grew up.
Yeah.
And it's great to be back there.
Because I still live in Crawley, which is where I grew up. I just think I've got I'm just in love with the familiar, nobody in Crawley gives a shit when in fact, a lot of the time they go, I thought you just said it as part of your act, that you still live there.
Yeah.
But then for me, I was so desperate to get out. I was convinced I was going to leave Crawley. Right? All I talked to, and I'd go out in Crawley and go, I can't wait till I'm actually going out somewhere decent. Like if you just said to Romesh at 18, when you're in your 40s, you're still going to be in Crawley. I don't think it would.
That would have been very depressing for you, would it?
Yeah. It would have just gone. His life has gone that shit. But
what happened then? What? Because you could have gone wherever you wanted.
Yeah, I just kind of whatever I do outside of my house, when I go home, there is a group of people in there that don't care what I've done. Like, they don't care that I've done a TV show. They don't care about any of that. Crawley's like that. You know, like, you know, you sort of go somewhere else and it's like you're the person that that you are in your job. And then when I go to Crawley, I get, people give me shit. Like,
I can't
like
say
it.
that. I go to the supermarket in Estragan. And I'm going to give you two examples.
Right, okay.
I'm walking down the aisle looking for frozen chips or whatever.
Yeah.
And a voice will go, Michael. I turn around. Hello. Would you mind signing my son's chest? Lucian, come here. She's named her child after one of the characters I played. She gets him to come up. He's got a tattoo of me on him, and she wants me to write on it. Lucian, come here. He doesn't know who the fuck I am. He's looking at me like, who are you? And she's essentially saying, here is your other father. Essentially. Here is everything. This man is the reason why you're called Lucian, is why you've got that, all of that stuff. Another example, I'm standing by the ice cream area, looking for some ice cream for my kids. And a voice goes, oh, look at you by the ice cream. Typical. I don't know who this woman is. People are just taking pot shots at me as I'm walking around. So
that sounds like a different experience.
The idea of being at home and it's like, oh, you could be, be anyone. It's not like that.
Okay.
But it's wonderful. I mean, it's marvelous. I do love that.
In your recent doc on Channel 4, you said, my name is Michael Sheen, I am Welsh. How important is your Welshness to you?
It has become more and more important to me. I suppose early on, a lot of people, would sort of think, well, Welshness is about rugby and male voice choirs and Tom Jones and all that kind of stuff. And that is very much a part of it, that cultural stuff. But it's got richer and richer for me as I've got older, and I love that. That's one of the things I've most enjoyed about my life.
Is it true that you gave up your OBE because of your Welsh? Is this a myth?
No, it is true. I was asked to do something called the Raymond Williams Lecture.
Right.
And in the writing of the lecture and researching it, I essentially gave myself an education in Welsh history. Welsh political history and socioeconomic. I mean, I put so much work into it. And by the time I came out of it, I was sort of radicalized.
Really?
Yeah, I sort of radicalized myself. I can see why that can happen. It just opened my eyes to all kinds of things. And I realized at the end of it, of writing this thing, I was like, I can't give this lecture and have an OBE. I just can't do it. So I have to make a choice. I either have to give this OBE back or I don't give this lecture. And I was like, well, I'm giving the lecture, so I have to give my OBE back.
How do you give an OBE back?
You have to write a letter to Prince Charles, as was.
You must have really wanted to do this lecture, man.
Yeah. You have to write a letter, and then someone has to go and physically... You don't have to physically do it yourself, but someone has to go and physically take the medal back and give it into the office. And you have to sign something saying, I don't ever want to be asked again. I mean, it's quite full on.
That is a lot, man.
Yeah.
And then imagine if the lecture had gone shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, very few people heard it, but it was just a principle.
To me, that feels massive. Was it massive?
It was pretty big, yeah. And
did people tell you, Michael?
Well, no one knew.
So you did the kit.
I didn't tell anyone. I just did it.
Before you'd radicalised yourself, and you had OB after your name.
Yeah.
Every time somebody says Michael Sheen OB, did it give you a little ball tingle? Like, did you feel anything? Like, was there anything about it that was kind of?
Well, it was. I mean, when I was given it, I felt very honoured. I mean, it was like amazing.
Yeah.
It was. I have no disrespect for it.
I
thought it was brilliant. But then when it got to that point, after when I had to make this decision, I just realised I couldn't say the things I was going to say about the nature of the relationship between Wales and the British state and all that kind of stuff, and just the history of it. And I sort of realised I couldn't have Officer of the British Empire after my name. It just didn't work.
I mean, when you say the full OBE, You're not really engaging with what it stands for. But
No.
that is what it stands for, right?
Clough used to say it means old big head because he got one. But you're an officer of the British Empire. And I did this whole thing about Britishness and Welshness and all this stuff.
It does make you sort of a rock star, doesn't it?
I don't know about that.
I think so. That is. I think I'm not. Listen, I don't want to be reductive. That's a big dick move, man. Like that is. I think that's.
But let me tell you the
really
extra
cool
bit,
thing
which
to
is
do.
that I thought that someone eventually would say, "Oh, are you not an OBE anymore?"
Yeah.
Because I kept saying, "Could you take that off?"
Yeah.
And sort of hoping that eventually someone in an interview would go, "So are you not? What happened?" And then I'd be able to tell the story.
Yeah.
And no one did.
No,
For years.
They must have just thought you're being modest.
I guess
you don't need to do that.
He doesn't like to make a big deal
please
of it.
don't.
Yeah,
He's such a humble, down to earth guy. I've actually got a present for you.
Oh.
But it's not. Well, it is a present you can take away with you, but it's not. It doesn't. It's not physical.
Right.
So I'm just going to show it to you.
Okay.
Here we go.
Hello, Michael. It's Lee Trundle here, ex-Swansea City player and now club ambassador. I just want to send you a little message, mate, saying thank you for the support and thank you for being a proud Jack. You know, we're all proud of you with what you do and we watch you from afar, but we're so proud that you fly the flag for our amazing football club. So we just want to thank you, wish you all the best and hope to see you at a game soon. See you, Michael. Bye-bye, mate.
Oh, how fantastic. I bet Snoop Dogg told him to do that. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lee.
Well, I'm assuming you're like best mates anyway, aren't you?
With everyone in Wales. Yeah.
Well, no, with like Lee Trundle's going to know. You will have crossed paths at some part.
Yeah, I mean, I think so, but I think maybe there's a slight overreach with thank you for all your support of Swansea City. I'm not entirely sure what I've done to support Swansea City, but I mean, yes, my local team, fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, to go back to when people say who's your team, I always say, well, I haven't got a team.
Right.
But the truth is, my team is the 1974 Liverpool team.
Oh, okay. So that video is a bit of a mistake then, really. Isn't
Well,
it?
no, that's lovely,
Okay.
and I do. You know, they do great work in the area. Swansea
Yeah.
City, and Lee is an amazing kind of ambassador for them.
Yeah.
and does amazing stuff. Every school you go to and every organisation, they all talk about. Oh, Lee came here and he did this, and it's fantastic.
We've got a question from my mum.
Right.
Now, full disclosure, I've not heard this.
Okay,
So she just sends in a question.
right. Okay,
So I don't know. These guys have heard it.
right.
So I'm hoping it's not something that's going to be offensive. But okay, go on.
Hi, Michael.
Hello.
I'm Romesh's mom.
Hello.
I love you in that movie where you interviewed the president. Do you have any tips for Romesh to improve his interview? Could you please let me know? I'll be grateful.
I love that there's an implication that you really need to step up your interview game there. Just that kind of, the thing that only mums can do.
Yeah, it's a question to Michael, but it's also to me, for me to ask myself, isn't
Yes.
it? Yeah. Okay.
What a great question.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that she's referring to Frost Nixon,
That's-
but she could also be referring to Prince Andrew and Emily Maitlis, depending on who she feels you are in this equation.
Yeah. Well, have you met any of the characters that you've played?
Yes. Well, so David Frost was the person I probably spent the most time with of all the real people, because we did it as a play first.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first got given the play to look at, and then I agreed to do it. I remember in rehearsals thinking, I think people are going to find this very boring. I thought, I think I'm in a real fucking flop. This is going to be a stinker, yeah. I really did. And I didn't sort of say it to anyone.
Yeah.
But I just thought, well, there you go. Take one for the team. And literally as soon as we were in front of an audience with it, I just thought that no one's going to be interested in this.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it wasn't just two people, but a lot of it was just two people in chairs like
Yes.
this. I mean, it's not particularly theatrical. And also, I thought, in Britain as well, does anyone really give a shit about Richard Nixon?
Yeah.
This all happened a long time ago, all of this stuff. And then we did it in front of an audience for the very first time, the very first preview at the Donmar Theatre. And it was just extraordinary. I was so wrong. Thank God, I guess. But the audience were so gripped by it. I couldn't quite believe it. And within a few days, I would say, of doing previews, we hadn't even opened, it looked pretty almost definite that not only would we go to the West End and to Broadway, there would be a film of it. I mean, we hadn't even opened, yeah. There was like a bidding war going on because it was an extraordinary time because I was doing the previews of Frost Nixon, but I flew out to Venice for the Venice Film Festival because the film The Queen was opening at the Venice Film Festival.
Right.
So I couldn't be there for the actual screening because I was on stage doing Frost Nixon, but I got there for the press conference the next day. And because The Queen had been such a massive hit at Venice, all the producers and directors who were at Venice knew that the same writer, same sort of team had this play, Frost Nixon, on at the theatre. So they all came over to London whilst this was happening. So there was this sort of feeding frenzy going on. And we hadn't even opened the play. It was crazy. So that's about as wrong as I've ever been about anything.
What was it like spending time with David Frost then?
It was
Were you just
great.
like watching him intently?
Well, I remember when we were rehearsing, there was like a Channel 4, some sort of Channel 4 do that I got invited to at the end of the first week of rehearsals. Nothing to do with us. It was just, a separate thing. And I remember getting out of a taxi to go into this place and completely coincidentally, just walking down the street, not going to this thing, just walking down the street, was David Frost. And so I just followed him. I sort of didn't know what to do. Do you know what I mean? I sort of panicked. So I don't want to say hello to him because I'd never met him before. I didn't want to go, I'm playing you. Like I didn't know, it's all a bit sensitive. But I also didn't want to miss the moment. So
you took the safest option of following him
I'll
from a
just
distance.
stalk him. So I just followed him down the road. I was with someone going into the party. I went, sorry, excuse me.
Yeah.
And I've got to follow this man.
Yeah.
And I just went following him for like ages, just watching him. And then...
that is so weird.
Yeah. And then I really thought, this is too weird. What if he turns around and sees... So I just stopped and went back. But that was my first experience with him. And then I remember... And then when we opened the play... I still hadn't met him because I knew the writer, Peter Morgan, had sort of been working with him, I think, early on when he was writing the play. And then at a certain point, I think, I don't know what had happened, but they sort of parted company a little bit. And so there was, a sensitivity there about it. And then when we did our very first preview at the Donmar, the entire back row of the theatre was made up of Frost's lawyers. They just, it's a big deal.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
For him, obviously. And then a few nights later, I was in the dressing room and the director came in and said, oh, by the way, Frosty's in tonight. I was like, oh right.
My God.
So I came out the dressing room at the end and the director said, he'll be in the bar, if you want to see him. So I came down. And he was standing there, and he looked a bit white. He looked like he'd just been through something. And I sort of just said, "Hello, how was that?" And he said, "It was like deja vu all over again," which apparently is a quote. It's a quote from Yogi Berra, who's an American baseball player,
right.
I think, who was very famous and very famous for saying kind of, things like Ringo Starr used to get things slightly wrong.
Right.
And he said to me, in the words of Yogi Berra, it was like deja vu all over again. Now, I'd never heard of Yogi Berra. I thought he was quoting Yogi Bear.
Well, when you said it to me, I thought, has Michael Sheen mispronounced bear?
And why isn't he talking more about picnic baskets? But yeah, so that was already quite strange.
Yeah.
I thought he is quoting Yogi Bear to me. I don't quite know what to do with my face.
Well, I've done radio comedy stuff where we're about to go. You go out and perform in front of an audience, and there's been times when I've had a similar experience to you where I've read the script, we've gone through the script, and I've thought this might be shit, and then we've gone out, and it's like the audience are just like laughing their heads off, and I cannot believe it. But the reason I know it's going well is because they're giving us a signal that by laughing, right? That's why comedy is the most narcissistic
Whereas with
of all.
drama, you don't know.
That's what I mean. So when you were doing the previews and you thought this might be a flop, and then How do you know that this is work?
Well, yes. I mean, there was a lot of laughs in the play, so
Right.
that is an indication. It's not comedy, but you can tell when people are
invested.
are reacting.
Yeah.
But you can. It's actually not true, really, that you can't tell in a drama, because you can. There's a kind of a quality of listening, and there's a quality of. I just remember so many people afterwards saying to me that during the interview bit, when it gets to the climactic stuff, so many people said to me, I realised that I hadn't breathed for like a minute. And if enough people say that to you, you realise that something's going on. And you can just feel that in the audience. You can't tell. It must be different for comedians, because if you're not getting fairly regular laughs, you know that it's not working well.
Yeah.
Whereas as an actor, you can spend long periods of time kind of not knowing what's going on.
You've got nothing coming from the audience.
No, and it can be very difficult to tell, and you can start to lose confidence in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then, and oftentimes, this happens a lot. A lot of actors will come off stage and go, oh, I don't know what was wrong tonight. I just wasn't feeling it. That was the worst performance I've done. And then maybe the director or someone in the audience will go, that is the single best performance I've ever seen you give. And you say, well, what's the connection between how good it feels for the actor and how, and what the audience is receiving? And after a while, I think I just started to learn that you can't really trust how it feels for you. It's not about what you feel; it's about what the audience.
No, that's a difficult thing for me to accept. It's not about me.
Yes.
That's a difficult thing.
Yeah. But that's always been with all the characters I played who were based on real people. The ones that are very well known. There's a moment, usually about like a week before we start filming or I start playing the character, where I get really terrified and I feel like this just doesn't work. People aren't going to accept me as this character, and I get really nervous about it. Then up until that point, it's really enjoyable. Like the period of time where you just get to research this person, especially someone like Clough.
Yeah.
But just spending time reading everything and watching everything and talking to people, it's so enjoyable. And then slowly, as you get closer and closer to having to do it, that's when I have a real wobble moment, and then you just have to do it. Then it's like, well, fuck it, whatever, for better or worse, I'm doing this now. I can't get out of it.
But then you've got the first moment where you're showing people.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Then you start doing it in front of people, and nobody remarks. I have found every single time nobody wants to say anything and you're like eyes on stalks. You're so sensitized for any reaction.
It's like taking your top off, isn't it?
It's like walking around naked and people going, no, there's no one naked here. No, this guy isn't pretending to be Kenneth Williams in front of me. Because it's such a risk to just go.
It's exposing, right? You're putting yourself out there.
And on the whole, for most people there, they haven't seen it. Maybe you've done a read through or a rehearsal or something. But on the whole, you've got a crew of thousands of people, and all of a sudden they go action, and you go or whatever, and people are expected to just accept this, and then they go cut. And as the actor, you're just looking around for any reaction, like ears on stalks, eyes on stalks, for anyone to say anything. And nobody does for ages. And what I've found is that it's very similar. The atmosphere and the responses of people are really similar if you've done a brilliant job and they're all thinking, actually underneath they're thinking, wow, that was amazing.
Yeah.
But it's really similar. The atmosphere and the response is also exactly the same if people think he should be fired now.
That's helpful, isn't it?
Yeah. So for a while, for days, you have no idea where you sort of stand with it. Like I've often thought, I'm going to be fired at the end of the day. Someone's going to go, it was very brave of you, and it was a strong offer, but this is a professional job of work. And people have to actually watch this. So we've got,
You surely you appreciate this has got to go out.
Yeah, people are actually, this is for public consumption. So we've got John Coleshaw instead, or what Rory Bremner instead. But then after a few days, someone will, maybe it might be a makeup person or someone will just go, it's amazing. It's like listening to the person or something like that. Some comment and you go, oh thank God. That's been pretty much the experience.
It's sort of interesting to hear you, because from an outsider's point of view, you're just supremely talented, and it feels unusual to hear you express doubt, to be honest with you, or worry about that.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily feel that with characters I'm playing that aren't based on real
Got
people.
you.
I'm more comfortable with that.
Yeah.
But the risk you take,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
leap
yeah.
that you take when
Yeah.
you do a real person.
Yeah.
Like I say, there's nothing like going from, can I get you a coffee, Michael? No, I'm okay, thanks. Just a little bit of makeup, right? Okay, and we're going to go for a take then. And okay, and action. Whatever the fucking thing is. Like it's not like doing anything else. you know?
Yeah.
So it's a massive leap and such a risk. So I really do feel nervous about that. But you've got to do the swan thing where the legs are kicking underneath. But you look.
How much is it if it's a real life person, which you've done a fair bit of? How much is it of you trying to physically look and act and sound like them, and how much of it is trying to get, like when you were researching Clough, for example, you're obviously watching how he sounded, and he had a distinctive way of everything. Really.
Yeah.
And then how much were you trying to get under his skin in terms of what his motivations were and where he came from? And
That's the difference, isn't it? I think if you're doing an impersonation of someone, usually, I mean, you think back to Mike Yarwood when I was growing up, or whoever it might be, Rory Bremner or whatever, but it's usually for a sketch. It's maybe you're doing it for a couple of minutes, if that. It's usually much shorter, and there's a couple of gags written in there. But you're not asking people to go on a journey with you, particularly. Do you know what I mean? You want to get people to focus on the external stuff, because you want them to go, wow, he really sounds like him. Really looks
you're
like
just
him.
trying to sell the thing, aren't you?
You're selling it. Whereas what I'm doing is, essentially trying to tell a story. So you want people to go on that journey with you. So I found what you need to do is, for me anyway, you need to do enough to get people comfortable with the idea that, okay, I accept that you're Brian Clough.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Yeah.
But if you can get them to do that, then you go beyond that. You want to make an audience think about, the motivation, what's driving this person.
Because I guess what you don't want is people to watch it the whole way through going, Michael Sheen's doing a great Brian Clough.
But what was that about?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't learned anything. Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't want people in every scene going, oh, he's really liking that. Oh, he's not like, you want to let go of that.
Yeah.
So in the process of the preparation for it, you have to sort of reflect that in the preparation. And the temptation from the very beginning when you first start working on it, in researching and preparing, the temptation is to get an impersonation under your belt as quickly as possible, because then that makes you go, oh, I can do it. But I have to resist that. I have to really resist that. And I try for as long as possible to not even try and do a voice or anything like that. I just watch stuff and I read stuff, and I just kind of try and immerse myself in the life of this person, and just let other things start to come through, like start to notice where they might seem a bit vulnerable, or just little quirky things about them that give you a little insight into what's going on underneath, and start with that. And then slowly start to, maybe a couple of weeks in, I'll try and do a little voice or maybe there's a word or usually there's a phrase. And so slowly you kind of build it up. And then eventually, when you're getting closer, you just got to go, right,
You've got to commit to it.
I've got to commit to this now, and I've got to really go for it. But hopefully it's informed by all that other stuff.
Yeah, all of that stuff you haven't
that's
actively...
That's the foundation.
Yeah, got you.
Yeah, so there's layers there. So then when you do go in front of the camera or on the stage, yes, hopefully you've done enough to kind of satisfy people that you sound and look like the person, but it's really like it's the bedrock of it is actually what's going on underneath, and that's hopefully what comes through then when you're doing it.
We've got another question for you from someone that's not here, Ben. Could you? This is actually Ben's daughter.
Right.
Do you want to give this a bit of context, Ben, or do you want to just play it straight in?
She's a massive fan of your book. It's something we read literally every night.
Spark the Dragon?
Yeah.
Oh.
And in fact, I had to read it in front of the whole class.
You had to read it in front of the whole class?
Well, I went in, they have a secret reader thing that my wife organises.
Right.
And I went in to do
Well, so you didn't... first of all, it's your daughter and your wife organises it. I mean, the idea that you've been forced into this situation feels... the story's falling apart.
I read two books. I read that and I Want My Hat Back.
Look at that.
Yeah,
this is a big day for you, isn't it, Ben?
Yeah.
Having both of us here.
I know it is. So this is... She's 6.
Yeah.
So just go easy.
Oh,
don't
God.
Yeah, but it's quite sweary.
This is...
She's felt... Yeah. Okay.
Hi, Michael. Are you going to make a new book about Sparks the Dragon in his home with his new friends?
Oh.
Are you?
Yes, I hope so. Sorry, I'm just in love with your daughter.
Yeah. She's
Oh
all right.
my God.
That's the best of her.
Yes, I mean, I hope so. So I'm hoping that that there'll be a series of books. But I mean, it's not up to me.
Sure.
But hopefully this first one will do well enough that we can do more. We've worked out the second story,
Right.
Already. I know what that's going to be, and I'm really excited about it. Each book I want to be, each story I want to be about a different, quite difficult subject to talk about. So the first one is about homelessness.
Yeah.
But it's about a little dragon who's lost his home and is staying with different characters and eventually finds a new home. So for young readers, like your daughter, hopefully it provides a kind of a context to have conversations about stuff that might be a bit difficult otherwise. So the second one, the idea is that it would be about young carers, but it won't seem like that. It'll be about the story will be the story, but it'd be great to be able to do more and more of these.
That's not what Poppy wants it to be about.
Right. What does Poppy want it to be about?
I don't. She wants it to be about their home with all the family and all the animals living
Yeah, we got
together.
that from the question, but you can't let
But
you can't steer the author into what the next book's going to be based on what one 6-year-old wants, Ben. As much as as charming as your daughter is, I can't believe you just battered it back to him. This is good news.
I think my mind has been changed, and yes, she can. She can do that. Having listened to our message. No, all the characters will be there. They'll all be there.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
Okay,
Don't worry.
great.
Yeah.
So that's Ben's connection with you. His daughter loves your book. Will also has a connection with you.
Right.
This is quite random.
It's not as wholesome.
Yeah, you've seen his dad's arse.
Hang on.
Where does
Hang on. Let's not unpack that just yet. And let's see if I can work out who your dad is.
I think I think you're going to find it really tough because that's it's your only. I say interaction. It's the only time you see. Was there a conversation of the?
No, I don't believe so.
Well, I mean, it's not like I'm constantly seeing men's arses.
No, that's a good point. That is a good point.
I mean, if I go through my life,
if you go through your arse Rolodex, your mental arse Rolodex.
Oh God, is your right? Okay, is your dad an actor?
No.
It's not someone I've worked with.
No, nor famous or anything.
Right, okay. So, but he's shown me his arse. Or have I accidentally, was I one of many who saw his arse?
You were the only one to see his arse.
The only one.
But it was an accident. It was an accident.
Yeah. How does someone accidentally show you their arse?
Well, that's the question. When Will told us his story, we asked a lot of these questions you're asking. How does that happen by accident?
Can you
so it was Soccer Aid.
Right.
It was at a hotel.
In a room?
Yes.
No, it was in the changing rooms of the sauna, and it was just you two in there. And he was getting changed, and he was completely nude when you came in, so he quickly turned around, showing his ass right at you, and that is now all he thinks about anytime he sees you in anything.
Not all the time. Not all the time. But
I mean, please let him know it's all I have ever thought about since as well. It's all I think.
That's going to be what the third Spark book's going to be about.
Do you know, for a moment there, I thought what you were going to say. I was staying in a hotel room in London, and I went to some awards do nearby, and I walked back to the hotel, and I went up in the lift, got off on my floor, went to my room, got my key card, opened the door, and there was a naked man sitting on my sofa. And I thought for a moment you were going to say that was your dad.
Oh my God.
Turns out I got off on the wrong floor, and key cards open lots of doors in hotels.
What?
Yeah, apparently. I was on the wrong floor, but the key card had opened the door, and he wasn't in my room. I had just walked into his room. And there was a man there, naked, going, "Why is Tony Blair just walked into my room?" Because it was around that time. And for a moment there, I thought you were going to say, my dad was naked, sitting in his room, and you walked in. Thank God it wasn't that.
Just walk in and go, "I'm so sorry, the government are shutting this hotel down."
Those balls are nicked.
He was naked on the sofa.
He was naked on
the
the sofa.
Do you think that's acceptable?
Well, actually, he had a sort of dressing gown on. It was undone.
Yeah.
And he was sitting legs astride
but
on a sofa.
Was it ball to sofa?
It was ball to sofa.
See,
watching TV. I mean, come on. Haven't we all done it?
You know the problem is
Watching Below Deck with your.
no, but the thing is, it's like then now it makes me. I'm already funny about going to hotel rooms. Do you know what I mean?
And
thinking
imagine
about what
someone could accidentally.
Yeah, but not only that, but like then you're sitting on the sofa. Somebody's balls have been on it.
Oh come on! What, you think that hasn't happened?
I'm sure.
Now you're worried about
no,
that?
but I
after
don't,
I've told
want to
that
I don't want to engage with those thoughts.
Imagine what has gone on in your room. I mean, imagine if you could have one of those, like after some terrible crime scene.
The black light.
And they've got the thing and they can see where the semen and the blood is and all that. Imagine, shall I get one of those for Christmas for you? No. And you can, every hotel room you can go in, you can just give it a quick scan and go, my God, this is a wash with body fluids.
There just must be, even after a deep clean, there must be so much jizz, right?
Everywhere.
Just part of the room. Like.
Everywhere.
It must be.
I mean, in my room anyway.
Yeah, certainly after I've stayed. if it's a 2-night stay, it's forming part of the structural integrity of the room.
Oh my God!
We've got a little game for you.
After 2 days, you call it a refurbishment. I thought whilst I was here, I'd just do it up for you.
Yeah. You won't need to do that plastering anymore. Fill that crack in.
I've pebble dashed the entire bathroom. Thank me later.
Yeah, no, that grouting's sorted actually. Right, now we've got 3 quotes here for you that are either something you've said or something we've made up. Okay?
All right, okay.
But there's no numbers to this, so they could all be true, they could all be... and I just want you to decipher which ones you think you've said. Okay?
Right.
What I would say is, I don't think this format point works.
Right, okay.
It's good.
Okay.
It's good.
I mean,
have faith in it.
But it's not worked once yet. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Who's
everybody's
writing
like,
the made up
one
ones?
of these two, right? But they do stuff like, I'm Batman. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's too much specific detail.
You've got to step your game up.
They're not doing it. They're not doing it in the.
Feel free to step in and write one yourself.
I'm going to. This is the last time I'm using. But let's just say
there's too much family trauma with Will, so it's got to be
yeah.
them.
Will was like, he went to write it, then he started crying. And he said, "Can I have a moment?"
All I can see is my father's ass.
But every time they watch him in anything, they think he thinks about that.
That's all he thinks about.
Yeah. Okay. This is the first one.
Yeah.
It's misquoted. My rule of thumb is that I want to do things I'd like to go and see myself.
Yes, that's me.
Yeah, that is you.
Because I believe that.
Yes. Have you ever done something that I'm not going to name anything.
Yeah.
But I have been in stuff that I thought I don't know why I'm doing this because I wouldn't watch this. Yeah, I wouldn't watch this. Have you managed to stick to that rule?
I've pretty much stuck to that rule.
Yeah.
There's, I mean, a lot of that is, your good fortune, isn't it? I mean, a lot of actors, certainly early on, are not having much choice over what they're doing. You're doing whatever you get.
Yeah,
and,
that's true.
And there are periods of time when that happens. So I've been very, very fortunate that I've had sort of choice a lot for most of my career. So I don't. It's not a gold star for me that I'm. It's just because I've had choice. But there was one time where, sort of early on, and I had a tax bill to pay, and it wasn't a particularly big tax bill, but I just didn't have the money. It's too big a tax bill if you haven't got the money in there. It doesn't matter what it is. And a friend of mine called me up as I'm sitting there going, "What am I going to do? How am I going to do this?" And a friend called up and said, "Someone sort of dropped out or something. Would you do it?" And they told me how much I would make, and it was exactly the amount that I would needed to pay the tax bill. So I was like, "Yep, I'll do it." And it's not necessarily that it was terrible. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't. I wasn't doing it for the reasons I would normally do it.
Got you.
So it's not necessarily a reflection on the thing itself, but it was the only time I was like, I have to do this. I've got no.
How aware are you of how shit hot you are at acting? What like where does your ability sit for you mentally? Like, do you?
I feel like I'm not as good as I would like to be.
Right.
And I'm a hair's breadth away from being shit at any moment.
Right, okay, good.
Like, it's like a high wire act. I can just about do stuff that can keep me working.
Yeah, got you.
And and be seen as being good and work that I can be proud of and all the rest of it. But I could easily drop into a vat of acting shite. I mean, literally at any moment, it could
Right.
all fall apart.
Yeah.
And even where I am is not where I would like,
Got you.
what I would like to be.
That's exciting, though, to know. I think that's what's exciting about stand-up is that you could drop into a vat of shit at any moment. That's what keeps me doing it.
Yeah.
And I've swum in it.
I mean, it's a TV format that's just waiting to be done. Celebrity shit.
It has
vats.
got ITV2 written all over it. Here's the next one.
Hosted by Romesh Ranganathan.
Oh, more than likely.
Yeah.
I was once described as a cross between a Shakespearean villain and a startled librarian, which I took as a compliment.
I wish I'd said that, but I don't think I did. I wish I had. It's very good. That's you, isn't it, Ben?
That's you.
Is it? I said that?
No.
No, you didn't. That would have been amazing.
That's a very good. I mean, it's something I could have said.
Yeah.
That's very close. I mean, you were putting Ben's
Work down.
work
You like
down.
that?
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
good.
Oh, was
Was
it?
you that one? Was that me? I can't remember.
I actually can't remember.
No.
You got-
That's good.
Okay.
Well, say it again.
Can I-
I've been
okay.
described as a
First of all,
Shakespeare villain.
Let me just tell you what I
Startled
think's happened over there, by the way. I think Will knows he wrote it. But we sort of talked about Ben doing it, and now Will's nervous about taking the credit away from Ben.
Right.
We've been sharing them. So
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Here it is.
There's a
I-
whole
wrote it, didn't I?
power dynamic going on there.
I was once. I mean, these guys have got their eyes on a spin-off. Do you know what I mean? Where they eventually there'll be a camera
Yeah.
here, and the interview will be happening in the background, and they're
Yeah.
just sort of doing some sort of.
The only thing that's not working about this format is the host.
absolutely,
as
yeah.
far as they're concerned.
I was once described as a cross between a Shakespearean villain and a startled librarian, which I took as a
Very good.
compliment. It's
very
good. It is
Very
good.
good. I mean, in a way, the character I play in Good Omens is sort of a startled librarian. I mean, he is sort of that. And of course, I've played Shakespeare villains, I suppose.
Yeah.
So so nice.
Really
very
well
good.
done, Will or Ben.
Very good.
Just before we get into the last one, how when you're acting, so I did stage with you. I don't know if you remember.
Yes.
This. Yeah.
Yes.
So I was playing a host of like a COVID-y show.
Yeah.
You know.
I feel like you've been in my house because I filmed that in my house.
Right. Yeah.
I remember doing it.
Yeah.
And I also remember I probably had the biggest beard I've ever
Yeah,
had
it
in my
was-
life. I looked like a member of the band.
Yeah. It was great though.
Yeah, it was
a great
that's
bit.
the best I've ever looked
But
at.
I was very intimidated because you two are very good at what you do. How aware are you of? You're not a judgy person, I don't feel like. But do you? What do you think of other? Like, are you analysing other actors? Are you too busy thinking about what you're doing? Have you ever been in something where you thought this person's shit?
yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. It's more that you're aware that that the scene isn't working right,
Got
or
you.
something's not right. It's not
Yeah.
that necessarily thinking, "Oh, that person's terrible," but you're just like, "Oh, this isn't quite
Yeah.
working right." And that's part of why I love working with David Tennant, because when we work together, you just feel like everything works.
Yeah.
And so it's not you're not necessarily thinking about what each of you is doing, but you just go, "Oh, there's no like bumps here. There's no any of the things that can happen sometimes to do with the personality or the way someone approaches the work or the way they act or whatever it is, the way what you're doing in the scene." There's just none of that.
You're just
with me
in
and
the
David.
pocket.
You just, there's no ego, there's no nothing. It's just, and so sometimes it's not even necessarily that someone's not being very good, but just something is a bit bumpy. You know what I mean?
Now this is so quotable. Okay, if I weren't an actor, I'd be a frustrated actor.
Oh, I hope that's me, because that's good.
It is you.
Is it me? Oh, well done, Michael. Well done, Uncle Michael. I've got a niece who, when she was very little, used to occasionally say, "Well done, Uncle Michael," and so I sort of boost myself with that sometimes. So that's very well.
I think
done,
it's a nice thing to say to yourself. Is that true?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
You would have pursued this route to rack and ruin. If
I
it had...
cannot see any other path. For me.
Got you. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's up there with the Shakespeare librarian.
I think it's beyond that.
Yeah, sorry, it's better than. Sorry, yeah, sorry. God, Christ. Okay, last question.
Yeah.
You've got a choice. You've got two options here. The team. So basically, the team would like to have some sort of viral moment from you.
Right.
So some sort of exclusive or something that you've never said before.
Is it a sort of arse-based viral
Doesn't
moment?
have to be.
Doesn't have to be.
Doesn't have to be.
But in keeping with the show.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah,
Yeah,
but we've
okay.
sort of horribly stumbled onto a theme. Or you can answer this question. Is there any real life character you've been asked to play that you said no to because you just didn't want to play them? So it's up to you. You can do either of those, or neither, actually, because the truth is, you've done us a solid by coming on here, and we're not in any position to force you to do anything.
I mean, I wish I had something interesting enough that could be a viral moment. Having said that, the last time we were together,
we need to talk about this. Oh my God!
Because
I was supposed to ask you about this. So,
I feel a sort of connection to everyone who was on that panel.
Yes,
that night,
yeah.
And yet we've never talked about it or spoken about it.
So this is where we asked you to deliver a rousing
On A League of Their Own.
On A League of Their Own, we asked you to deliver this sort of rousing speech.
Yeah.
To the Welsh team
who were about to go to the World Cup.
Yes. So it was just like a thing in the moment. And what then happened?
Talk me through what was going on in your head this was happening.
Can I tell you completely honestly?
Yeah.
I genuinely thought you were going to say something like you'd been hired to do a cameo. We just go, Wales, good luck. Hope you smash them up. One love, Mikey Sheen.
Yeah.
Do you know, I thought it was going to be that.
Yeah.
What you did.
So on the night,
yeah,
we're sitting there and you do ask me that.
Yes.
And then I start speaking. I hear the voices singing. Speed your journey, boys, boys, back. One nation, singing with one voice. A song of hope, a song of courage, a victory song. At what point did you think, what the fuck is he doing? What is going on? This is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
At no point did
it must have been really embarrassing to begin with, mustn't it?
No. The truth is, I think maybe a couple of words, maybe 3-4 words in, I thought this is going to be something special. And then you start, it just continued building to the point where, honestly, I think I said it on the night, I wish I was Welsh. I wish this was in some way addressed to me. But then everybody afterwards, we gave you a standing ovation. The audience went nuts. The audience
completely crazy.
Yeah, got on their feet, went nuts, right? The production team are just walking around like dogs with two dicks. Just absolutely losing their shit about it. Did you know it was going to go? You can't have known it was going to go like that.
No,
but did you think it would go well? You must have thought it was going to go well.
So a lot of people say to me, had you worked out what you were going to do beforehand?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'd had a few ideas
right.
and I'd thought about it a bit. And then as we're sitting there on the day, I'm thinking, well, you might not even ask me. So there's no point in... But as the show was going on, I was thinking, oh, I really hope you don't ask me. Because I was going, the vibe is not right. It's not the vibe.
Yeah.
We're in England. It's a completely English audience. Yeah. Everyone on this panel is English. It's just not the vibe, And then you asked me, and then I thought, oh, fuck, right. If I am going to do this, I'm going to have to do 150%. The only way to make this work is to really go for it. And so I just threw everything at it. You sons of speed! As they fall around us, we are still here!
I think it's one of the most viral clips we've ever had on A League of Their Own.
I've realised now that if I'm lucky enough when I die to have an actual, bit on the news...
Yeah.
That's what they'll show. It doesn't matter any of these things that we've talked about, but that's what they'll show.
I hope they keep my bit in. If you've enjoyed this episode of the Romesh Ranganathan Show, make sure you follow wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, all the big ones, and you can enjoy more great content like this. And in fact, I'd go further to say, even if you didn't enjoy this episode, just follow anyway for shits and giggles. And if you've got an interesting story or a question for my mum and I, or even a family dilemma you'd like us to help you with, please do get in touch via our email address, podcast@rangaby.com, or you can voice note or text on this number, 07731 62 33 55. I'm Romesh Ranganathan, and this has been the Romesh Ranganathan Show. What a narcissist. See you next time.
Oh, shut up, Romesh.